it's great to be here. It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm excited to tell you a bit more about CLIM8. I'll just get my clicker ready so I can click through these slides. So CLIM8 is it's a fintech. It is a digital investment platform, an app on everyone's phone that means it's a really easy way now to invest into companies that are having a positive impact on climate change. And we're not aware of another platform quite like ours out there in the market. I think everybody has heard Greta, David Attenborough. We are all aware of climate change, that it's real. Just this summer we had apocalyptic images coming from various parts of the world again, from Germany, one of the richest countries in the world, with mass flooding that killed a couple of hundred people, from California and Oregon again, burning again with wildfires for the 5th summer in a row. And that's leading to eco-anxiety. There was a piece in the British Medical Journal just this week talking about the rise of eco-anxiety, in particular amongst younger people. And I think people are now looking for solutions. They want to feel that they can make a difference, but right now feel disempowered. There's also a tremendous investment opportunity here as well. I think, looking at the positive side, there's a fantastic quote here from Al Gore, perhaps most famous for the climate documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, which came out some years ago now, kind of pre-Greta. And he's more recently become an impact investor himself. He's trying to make a difference. And he said about a year ago now, combating climate change is not just your generation's life or death struggle, but also the single biggest investment opportunity in history. And we very much believe that at CLIM8. We are in the, gone one too far ahead, going to use this clicker. So we're in the foothills of an industrial revolution. There are trillions of dollars, pounds that need to be invested into not only things like clean energy, things like solar and wind and electric mobility. I think that's an electric vehicle on this slide, as we move towards a low carbon and a sustainable economy. But carbon impacts everything we do, from the moment we wake up in the morning, from how we clothe ourselves, how we feed ourselves, how we transport ourselves, the homes we live in. Carbon is embedded in everything we do. So it's very important that we're focusing on all these different sectors, and there's a massive investment opportunity. And here's a big number. This came out of the United Nations IPCC back in 2018, where the world must invest $2.4 trillion every year into clean energy. And that is just one of the sectors that we need to decarbonize. So there's a lot to do, but there's also a big investment opportunity. Sustainable investing can also be actually a relatively low friction way for you to have an impact. And there's now a couple of pieces of research out there that provide evidence that you can have more than 20 times the impact of flying less, eating less meat, using public transport, using less water, cycling more, all those behavioral changes which we're aware we need to make. You can actually have a bigger impact than all of those combined by making a difference with your investments and your savings, and that's really what we're trying to facilitate at CLIM8. We also have an awareness issue. So there's now been various, again, polls on people. Would you like to make a difference with your money? And of course, most people say yes. But only 3% of people understand that sustainable investment can actually have the biggest impact of all of these behavioral changes. And this is data from a recent YouGov poll that we've just conducted. We'll be releasing more data on this soon. And as you can see, investing your money sustainably is at the bottom of the list, below flying less and moving to a plant-based diet. So again, there's an awareness issue here, and hopefully we can make a difference on that at CLIM8. And this is really our mission. Our mission is to empower millions of people to have a positive impact on climate change. And how are we doing that? So we've launched a first version of our app. It's in the app stores and on Google Play earlier this year. We're growing fast, we're onboarding people every day, and we're very focused in the sectors we're putting people's money into. So we are focused on 6 core themes of clean energy, smart mobility, which is primarily electric mobility, clean technology, clean water, sustainable food, and circular economy. So we are only providing access to companies that are making a positive impact. So this is very different from ESG investing, which we'll come on to in a second as a big topic. So examples of the kinds of companies that we're putting people's money into include Vestas, which is a leader in wind turbine manufacturing in Denmark. Another example would be Ørsted, which is a clean energy developer, a big developer of wind farms, in particular in the North Sea. So I just touched on that. We go far beyond ESG. ESG has been a lot of talk about it in the press, particularly in the investment press. Trillions and trillions of dollars and pounds and other currencies have moved into ESG in the last few years. And unfortunately, we see this as actually unhelpful in the sense that a lot of that money is not going into companies that are making an impact. In fact, a lot of the money is going into fossil fuels and tobacco and weapons and other undesirables, which I think people would be surprised to know are sitting in their pensions. So it's become much of a marketing tool. And ESG is really, it's about passive investing, it's about negative screening and picking the best from a bad bunch. And we don't think that's good enough. We think we have so little time now to make an impact on climate change. We need to be putting people's money into the right kinds of companies. And so there's been a wall of greenwash. So this is not just us on a rant. This is an article from The Economist from a couple of months ago. Sustainable finance is rife with greenwash. And it goes on, The Economist crunches the numbers on the world's 20 biggest ESG funds. On average, each of them holds investments in 17 fossil fuel producers. 6 have invested in ExxonMobil, America's biggest oil firm. And it's not just about fossil fuels. The article goes on, ESG investing is hardly a champion of social virtue either. The funds we looked at invest in gambling, booze, and tobacco. And I think that really speaks to the problem with ESG. It's really broken. It's not fit for purpose if you think you're putting your money into the right kinds of companies. And that's what we're very much doing at CLIM8. Well, we're not only providing you with data around the investment returns, also provide now a personal impact calculator. So we're showing already a couple of different data points. One is on the CO2 emissions saved by the companies in your portfolio, in your personal portfolio. So this is personalized data. And also we show the amount of clean energy generated by, again, the companies in your portfolio. And our portfolios, again, have 0% exposure to oil and gas and coal. We are making decent progress as well. So we've so far raised 12 million in venture capital funding. In fact, more. We'll be making an announcement soon. So that's a mixture of VC, a range of, I guess, smart money, so financial services and fintech executives who've invested in the company, and also Channel 4 Ventures, which is quite exciting. So we announced a few months ago that Channel 4 is providing us with some airtime, in fact £2 million worth of airtime, so we will start advertising on Channel 4 quite soon. And we've also had investment from 5,000 investors via a crowdfunding platform called Crowdcube, which is a fantastic way for us to market our app, our product, and build our community. We've also built, I think for the stage we're at, a really world-class team of people. Half the team are women. We're now a team of 36 professionals from world-class businesses like Amazon, JP Morgan, Expedia, Credit Suisse, Yahoo, and a range of others, some of them listed there. And so it's perhaps the slide I'm most proud of. I've managed to pull in some incredible people, some incredibly talented, smart people into the team. We have 21 people now in the software and product team, so we're building our own technology. And we have an in-house investment team, which I believe is also unique. We have 6 people in the in-house investment team, led by my partner Vincent, who was formerly global head of utilities and energy research at Credit Suisse and 30 years in the capital markets. On to the next one. So we've also brought into our ecosystem a tremendous advisory board and a deep bench of people with world-class experience across tech, fintech, financial services, and energy. A couple I can maybe highlight. We've got some former partners from McKinsey, the ex-head of digital at McKinsey, and a former technology partner at McKinsey, who was also one of the founding directors of New Energy Finance, renewables publication, where he was head of strategy, which got bought by Bloomberg, and also the ex-CEOs of a couple of other wealth tech platforms, and a lot of energy experience also there. We've also got some people who've are working at Google. So how are we doing? Well, we seem to be loved by our users. You know, I think it's quite a beautiful app. It's very simple to use. It's relatively easy to onboard. It takes you about 10 minutes. And here are some comments from some of our community. We've had a lot of good ratings, and as I said, we make it really, really easy for you to have an impact with your savings. Our current main product is an ISA, so it's a tax-wrapped ISA, and we also have a general investment account. We have soon coming a SIP, so personal pension, self-invested pension plan, and also a junior ISA in the pipeline. And finally, perhaps the vanity slide. You know, we have already had quite a lot of media coverage from both tech and fintech press, places like TechCrunch and Sifted, but also in the mainstream media, places like the Times, the Financial Times, and also more broadly, places like Good Housekeeping and Glamour. So I think this really speaks to the interest in climate change and sustainability. You know, people are looking for solutions now. People are really interested in this space, and I think are crying out for a way to have impact. And with a relatively simple proposition like ours, you know, we can make that really easy. So that's the end of the presentation. I welcome any questions from Greg. I would love people to kind of take a look at what we're doing. As I said, we're in the App Store, we're on Google Play. You can download the app, have a play around, and you can also email me. I'm available. I spend my days with my phone stuck in my hands. You can email me on Duncan at CLIM8 Invest, and yeah, open to any questions if there are any from Greg.
Great, thank you so much, Duncan. We're actually getting a lot of questions coming in from the audience, and the first one is like, is this only open to investors in the UK?
It is currently only open to investors in the UK, but we have big ambitions. We will be going into other countries next year. So I would say watch this space. You can always take a look at our website. We'll be updating on that, and we'll be building a waiting list for other countries that we'll be going into.
Another question from the audience, Duncan. Sort of, how do you think about the companies that you're actually, working with? What kind of requirements do you look at if ESG just isn't enough?
So our primary filter is: does this company have a product that is making an impact on climate change, a positive impact on climate change? So that is our primary filter. If it's doing that, then we also do look at ESG type tools. So we will look at the social aspects of a company, of its governance. Is it well governed? Does it have good diversity policy? All these other. But our primary filter is: does this company have a product that is making an impact? So, a couple more examples would be an American company called Aptiv, which is a software hardware business which sells products into the electric mobility space and indeed autonomous vehicles. Another company would be Schneider Electric, a French company, which is very strong on energy efficiency and electric vehicle charging charge points.
And just thinking about the competitive landscape, obviously every single big, large institutional investor is now talking about decarbonising its portfolio and thinking about, what consumers really want to see in terms of especially where their pension pots are invested. How do you think about that in terms of you're up against, some of the world's biggest financial institutions?
I would say that, I welcome that. I think that's great. We have such a massive problem. The world needs systemic change. We need trillions of dollars, pounds moving into these kinds of companies and new companies coming down the pipe, which will become listed. So I think that's good in terms of our positioning. Because we're very pure play, we're only investing in this space. I think there'll always be a place for a pure play specialist like us with an in-house investment team, as I said. So we're not relying on third-party kind of passive ETFs, which we don't think are good enough in this space. But if you want to have a genuine impact, you've got to be actively investing.
Duncan, well, congratulations on winning the Wired Money Startup Showcase. We're really delighted to have you join us today and look forward to following the CLIM8 journey as it moves forward. So thank you for joining us today.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been fantastic.
Cheers, Duncan.